Hello, my name's Doug McKinney. I'm the president of Exclusive Search, a recruitment and job placement firm located in Cleveland, Ohio. Over the past 30 years, I've literally placed thousands of professionals in career opportunities just like you. I'm sure you know how very competitive the job market is today. There are over 6 million people unemployed. Most states are hovering at 10% unemployment, and there are 6 available candidates for every open position. That's why I'm here today, to help provide you a better understanding of the recruitment process. I'm here to pass on a few recruiter secrets and winning techniques that'll not only help you get that first job offer, but will provide you with options to select the best offer. With 123 You're Hired, you will understand how to sell yourself and wow that interviewer. My mission is to make you one of the few remembered, not one of the many forgotten. I encourage you to take this presentation you're about to see very seriously and use these proven tools and techniques to set your career in motion. Now let's get started.
Welcome to 123 You're Hired, your roadmap to successfully competing in today's job market. 123 You're Hired was prepared by Douglas McKinney, the president of Exclusive Search Incorporated, a professional placement firm located in Cleveland, Ohio. Working with Fortune 500 companies, Exclusive Search has successfully placed over 5,000 professionals since its inception, many with skills just like you. If you're listening to this presentation, you're either preparing to begin a search for a position, have been actively searching for a better position, or are searching for your first position. If you've been looking for a position for a while, you're no doubt experiencing the realities of the job market today. The state of the economy has created a very competitive job market. With less positions available, it's without a doubt an employer's market. With hundreds of thousands of unemployed, there are many experienced candidates seeking positions and taking positions that often pay less. The employer's challenge today is not to find an employee, it's choosing the very best employee. The bottom line for any job seeker today is the average time to find a position is 5 to 7 months if you already have experience. Unfortunately, if you're just out of school, you can expect to add another 3 to 6 months. That is the reality, and it's important for you to keep in mind. While the job market realities are eye-opening and somewhat discouraging, the purpose of this presentation is to help you beat the odds by better preparing you for the job hunting process. You'll be provided with a roadmap for a successful interview. Our presentation will provide you with proven and winning techniques to help you prepare for specific types of interviews, how to apply those techniques during an interview, and what you should do to successfully follow up after an interview to ensure you go on to the final stages of job selection. In short, over the next hour, you're going to learn what you'll need to know to wow the interviewer and help you move to the top of any employer's candidate list. If you follow this proven process, you'll have the tools you need to advance through the interview process by wowing the interviewer every step of the way and be successful with each and every interview. The rest will be up to you to effectively apply it. Let's start by thinking about the objectives that any candidate has. First, to secure the interviews you want. Not just any interview, but the interviews that are best for you. Second, to stand out from your competitors. Third, to generate an offer for the best position. Without an offer, you really don't have a choice to make. And ultimately, having the option of choosing the position that will be best for your career. It is very important that you land a position that's right for you, meets your short and long-term goals, provides you growth opportunities, and allows you to gain skills that will excite your next employer, making you into someone who is in demand. Therefore, you are more marketable and you can increase your earning potential. Here's where we begin. In short, it all begins with you. Let's start with a self-evaluation. Perform an SWOT analysis on yourself. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Let's start with your strengths. Does your work experience align well with the positions you're interested in? Does your educational background support the requirements of the job? Is your technical knowledge at a level that will be required? How well do you perform with related skills such as leadership and communication with others? Do you have a strong work ethic? Have you earned professional recognition, academic recognition, or are a member of a related organization? All of these factors can be positioned as strengths that will be attractive to any employer. What are your weaknesses? This could be the most difficult part of your self-evaluation, but arguably the most important. But it is important to be honest with yourself. Is your grade point average strong? Do you have related work experience? Are you a good communicator? Are you shy or lack the discipline that will be necessary for a strong job search? It's very important that you recognize your weaknesses and have a strategy for either overcoming them or a way to position them as a positive. For example, if you're interested in positions that involve more technical knowledge than you currently possess, consider enrolling in a program that will fill in the gaps. For every weakness, you'll need to find an offsetting experience or characteristic that you can use to offset that weakness. Provide examples of how you overcame a weakness and turned it into a positive. What did you do to learn a new or unfamiliar skill? How did you go the extra mile? Often, these examples can mean more to an employer than just having the exact skills that they're looking for. It demonstrates your tenacity and determination to succeed. What are your opportunities? The external factors that you may be able to use to successfully search for a position, such as, number 1, trends in a specific industry that will require more jobs, or number 2, trends in the industry that align with your skill sets or education. What are the threats, the external factors, the barriers that you cannot control that may impair your ability to land the position you're most interested in? Is the industry you're going in growing or in a decline? How competitive are positions for which you're qualified? Do you lack the training that will be required to be successful in that position? To ensure strengths and opportunities are highlighted to your advantage and you have a positive strategy to address weaknesses and threats, consider the use of a career coaching professional, or if you're a recent grad, you can go to your career services department at your college or university and get help with mock interviews, career advising, resume and cover letter review. These professionals will be available and will help you develop that wow factor that will make you stand out from the competitors. Your long-term career goals should be to land a position with a company that you can be enthusiastic about, where you can grow and thrive and gain skills you can market. Here's a question for you. Is it always the most qualified candidate who gets hired? The answer is no. Qualifications and experience are factors, but by no means are they the only ones. Sometimes it's all about being in the right place at the right time. However, it usually comes down to simply performing well during the interview. Being in the right place at the right time is great, but most employers form an opinion of you within the first 10 minutes of the interview. As we move forward, we'll make the assumption that you're now preparing for an interview for a position that you're technically qualified for. Our focus will be on preparing you so that you can demonstrate confidence, enthusiasm, and passion about the position and your story. Performing well and standing out during an interview starts with a few basics, and that's what we're going to be talking about next. Stick to the 5 P's. They are the basics, the foundation for interview performance. The first, preparation. Know as much as you can about the job, the company, its people, its competitors. Review their website, the job descriptions, the types of people they look for. Second, the presentation. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Wear your best and be your best. Present yourself with poise and confidence. Third, have passion. Be positive, enthusiastic, and energetic. Demonstrate that you love what you do. The fourth is professionalism. Be on time, or even 5 to 10 minutes early. Make sure you turn your cell phone off. Use proper body language and speak clearly when addressing your interviewer. And lastly, the 5th P is persistence. Be sure to follow up on calls and send thank you letters. Now, let's get specific and talk in detail about the 5 P's. First, your preparation for the interview. Keep in mind that companies expect you to have made an effort, so the more they think you know, the more you'll impress them. Your ability to master these 5 points will be the determining factor for how well your interview is received. Here are some of the topics that you want to make sure you cover to prepare for the interview. Make sure that you look again at the job description and the list of job titles and skills that the company hires for. Try to identify their interview style and whether they'll do a screening interview to qualify your skills. Customize your resume and presentation to stress specific skills that apply to the position and the company's needs and expectations. Then, practice, practice, practice. By practicing your presentation out loud, rehearsing your responses to common questions, and having examples that illustrate your skills and experience, you'll surely stand out from your competitors. Some information you will need. Know the company better than they know it themselves, starting by researching the company's mission statement, the product and market that they're in, their size and revenue, culture, key employees, and the location of the company and subsidiaries. Understanding the types of jobs the company is looking for will help you understand what is important to them and may give you clues concerning the direction they are going. So, where does all this information come from? There are many sources that will help you. Annual reports are often published online, but if not, just ask them to supply you with one. You can Google anything about a company. You can use LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Any networking source is a wealth of information of who's who in the company. Harris Directory, Thomas Registers gives you industry details, size, profit, product lines, phone numbers on any major manufacturer or service industry. Hoover's, Monster, Career Builder can all help you. The most important tool that you could use is networking through people you know for information concerning the job. Interview process. Key employees will provide you valuable information. Whoever you know can be a source and give you that inside track to really understanding what the company looks for, what their culture's about, and what's going to set you apart from every other individual. The more prepared and informed we can become, the more we can show confidence, enthusiasm, and passion while feeling relaxed and natural during our presentation. It is best to determine what you are worth before the interview in the event that the required salary question is raised. You do not want to sell yourself short. Here are some websites you can use to find out: payscale.com and salary.com. There are others that may be stronger depending upon the type of career you're looking for, but we recommend starting here and then trying others. Keep in mind, companies have strict salary guidelines. Use the information as a guideline, but don't lose the job you want by pricing yourself out of the company's salary guidelines if you feel positive about everything else. Remember, our goal is to secure an offer. Once we've established ourselves as the primary candidate for the position, our leverage will increase dramatically, and then we can negotiate more effectively. The last activity in your preparation is the development of your wow factor. The wow factor is a 60-second description of what you have to offer, what makes you different, and why you are better than other candidates. The goal of preparing your wow factor is to construct a highlight reel of your skills and accomplishments, to then match them with the company's needs, their products, and culture, to engineer a lasting and strong impression that will make you memorable in the mind of those that will interview you, and in doing so, make you one of the few, not one of the many. If you can understand where you can add value for the employer, you will have a roadmap to lead him right to you as the best candidate. There are 3 main attributes that employers are looking for that should be demonstrated in your wow factor: business acumen, driving results, and emotional intelligence. There are 3 elements to business acumen: strategic thinking, resourcefulness, and critical thinking. Strategic thinking is the ability to think ahead, to forecast what will impact business in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Resourcefulness is the ability to design creative and innovative ideas for the business and solve its problems. Critical thinking is the ability to identify key information and use that information to solve problems and maximize efficiencies. It's the ability to come to logical conclusions and act on them. Think of experiences you've had that demonstrate business acumen. Driving results is the second component of preparing your wow factor. Employers are looking for examples of how you have taken the initiative to address an issue or opportunity, and more importantly, how have you inspired others to achieve results. Emotional intelligence includes attributes such as building trust by having a sense of integrity, being candid and thoughtful, sharing information and fulfilling commitments, influencing others by presenting ideas in an effective and convincing way, leading and inspiring others to improve. So, how should you start developing your wow factor? First, list your key accomplishments, your technical and personal accomplishments. What are you proud of? What do you do better than others? How did you find a unique solution to a tough problem? How did you lead a team to achieve a specific goal? Try to construct your accomplishments around our 3 main factors: business acumen, driving results, and emotional intelligence. Next, describe who you are. What are the specific things that you want them to remember about you as it relates to the position? Describe what you do in terms that are relevant to the position. Clearly state the value added that you would bring to any employer. Why are you unique? How are you different or better than others that are competing for the position? And your goal for the position. Demonstrate that you understand there will be deliverables and accountability. How will you demonstrate an understanding of realistic and attainable goals? When you begin to author your personal wow factor, make sure you use power adjectives such as capable, confident, cooperative, detailed, or organized. But don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Try to identify the top 5 power words that describe you best. Lastly, don't take all day. The best wow factors are no more than 230 words and can be delivered by you in no more than 50 to 60 seconds. And make sure you do not repeat words more than twice. The first P, preparation, is now complete. You've started a self-evaluation, done your research, and developed your wow factor. And you're now ready to go on to the second P, your presentation. Next, your presentation. We're now going to start covering the different types of interviews that you'll be involved in. Many people feel the interview is more of an interrogation. It's important to think of the interview as a conversation between two people trying to get to know each other a little better. Always remember that you are interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you. You will never be interviewed if the company is not interested in you. If they are, part of their job is to convince you that their company is the best choice for you. If the employer knows he has to convince you that their company is your best option, the door is open for a much more positive conversation. Knowing that the employer believes that you are a strong candidate helps you identify the value you bring to the organization and will direct the employer to choose you above other finalists. The interview is when the second P, presentation, becomes very important because it is very true what they say. You don't get a second chance at a first impression. Remember this and ensure you follow through. Wear your best, act your best, and be your best. Be sure we're not overdone with jewelry and flash. Always present a professional business look. If you do your homework, you'll be prepared to dress at least one step up from the company's everyday business code. Do this and you'll be sure to put your best foot forward. Feeling good about the way you look will help you to be poised, confident, and make the interviewer feel that you are the best person for the job. Now, here's the bad news. There are many types of interviews, and you'll need to understand how to prepare for each. Screening interviews focus on the quality of your skills. You could be asked to give a presentation or answer questions from a panel of managers. They could be as informal as a lunch, brunch, or dinner conversation. You could even be interviewed remotely via webcast or a satellite feed. There are also second interviews that have a completely different dynamic to them as well. The 3 types of interviews that we're going to be focusing on today are the campus interview or job fair interview, the phone interview, and the standard face-to-face on-site interview. The job fair interview can be characterized as the ultimate first impression. The job fair is the ultimate opportunity for making a great first impression. In a job fair, this is what you need to know. You have approximately 5 minutes to sell yourself. That's it. So this is when the time you spent developing your wow factor pays for itself. Know exactly what you have to offer and what makes it unique from everyone else. The key here is, as we discussed earlier, to talk about your skills while matching them to the company's products, needs, and culture. At a job fair, you need to be prepared to wow them right now or get in another line. It's that simple. Keep in mind this job fair strategy. You can turn the tables and interview the recruiters. Remember, if you are the ideal candidate, then this needs to be the ideal company for you. You are as much of value to them as they are to you. Ask functional questions, though, like, what skills do you seek? What type of people fit into your office culture? What are the career options for this position? Tell them what you want in a career with their company, highlighting what you have to offer and matching it with what they need. Always remember, you need the employer to realize your value. Asking the right questions are another opportunity to wow them and demonstrate your intellect. Do your research. Set up a recruiter to ask those questions so you have the answers if you do your research. If you identify the needs of the position, then you'll know what turns the company on, and in turn make you an ideal candidate for the job. Again, your goal is to become one of the few, not one of the many. You want to help the interviewers weed out the rest and get another interview. It doesn't matter whether it's in person or on the phone. The purpose is to make a lasting, strong impression. The recruiter is only going to remember some of the details of your short meeting, short being the operative word here. Give the recruiter a close, something like, I know that you've seen many candidates. How do my qualifications fit the needs of the company and the culture? Or, do you have any additional questions about my qualifications you'd like me to discuss in greater detail? Give them a summary of why you're interested and where you can add value. Ask when you can expect to hear from them or if there's an ideal time to follow up. Know the interview timeline and always end with a thank you, while being sure to address the recruiter by his or her name. Getting past the elimination round. So, you got to the next round, the phone interview. However, keep this in mind. The phone interview really only gets you eliminated. Remember that. It will rarely get you a job. They're looking to weed you out, so you have to know the answers quickly. Rarely does anyone ever get the job over the phone. Your goal is to get that face-to-face interview. Make sure you know who you are speaking to and how they relate to the hiring process. You need to tailor and prepare your responses according to who is interviewing you. If it's a hiring manager, know that you are going to be answering more technical questions. If it's a personal representative like someone in HR, you're going to be answering more qualifying questions. If they do ask you technical questions, gauge their expertise and address them in terms that they can understand, demonstrating your ability to communicate. I'll emphasize this again. Be prepared. Keep notes and other information handy. Remember, you are hiding behind a phone, so you can have as much information as you want in front of you. The company's website, a job description, profiles of key executives. Make sure you won't be distracted. Be enthusiastic and professional and always demonstrate good communication skills. We recommend standing up and walking around while talking to help project an energetic tone. In a phone interview, your only tool to make an impression is your voice. Standing helps to project more energy and enthusiasm. Make sure they do not visualize a person that is low energy or too laid back. Before you hang up, make sure you ask for more detail on the job and the company structure. Summarize again your interest and your value to them. Ask if others are involved in the hiring process and whether you may need to speak to them and when they might be available. Find out their time frame. The goal again is to build chemistry and get that face-to-face. Close with something like, I will be available in 2 weeks. Would that be a good time to meet and discuss the opening further? The more you can convey a sense of urgency to that recruiter, the truer reaction you'll get. So, you've made it past the elimination round. Congratulations, you are a finalist. This is where you will make or break your interview. This is where all your research and preparation will pay off. The 3 traits every candidate must demonstrate in an interview are qualifications, confidence, and passion. A recruiter will always make the assumption that you are qualified for the interview. It's the confidence and passion that, as we go further into this preparation, that you will learn and will be able to improve upon, because the more confident you are, the more passionate you will become, and the more this program is going to help you. Whenever you are on a face-to-face interview, the key is to talk about your successes. Highlight your accomplishments. Give details. Recruiters like actual experiences, so the more you have, the better. Confidence is key. Have a can-do attitude. Have you ever heard, whether you think you can or can't, you're right? Henry Ford said it best, but remember, you can. Remember, a firm handshake is also key. Nobody likes a limp fish. Also, maintain eye contact, positive body language, and good posture. Point out that you are the type of person to find the silver lining in the cloud. The third P here is passion. Be positive, enthusiastic, and energetic. Talk about and demonstrate what you love to do. Distinguish yourself from your peers. Talk about things that you're proud of and that make you happy about your current job. Give examples of situations where you excelled, where you did something better than everyone else. Talk about your successes. Telling your success stories will naturally reveal your enthusiasm and passion you have for your work and demonstrate that you love what you do. And if they didn't pay you, you'd do it for free. If the interviewer believes that you love what you're good at, they'll believe you'll be successful working for their organization. Professionalism, one of the most important P's. One of the many mistakes people make throughout their careers is to put the blame on someone else. Always, always, always be accountable for your actions and take the high road. It will pay off. And remember, on time really means 5 to 10 minutes early. Use proper language and always speak clearly. Never say anything negative about your past employers or employees. Employers do not want to hire negative people with baggage that they will be bringing with them. Let's reiterate the basics. You only get one chance to make a first impression, so do it right the first time. Dress for success. Be prepared to present references and always bring extra copies of your resume. Address everyone by name. Be respectful of others and always say thank you. Another thing to consider, body language is more important than you think. Take in this staggering statistic. Over 90% of the message that you're sending during your job interview is nonverbal. That's right, nonverbal. Remember this as we move along. Be genuine. Engage them with your beautiful and real smile. Again, with that firm handshake, and tell them how happy you are to meet them. Eye contact is very important. Keep this percentage in mind. 60% eye contact is most ideal. If eye contact is difficult for you, try to concentrate on the eyebrows, not the forehead. Also, excess energy isn't always a good thing. Remember, fidgeting is a sure sign of nervousness. Never touch your face, throat, mouth, or ears during the interview. To avoid false assumptions in your honesty or integrity, avoid touching your face. Project openness and trustworthiness. Your hands and arms speak volumes. Leave your hands open and relaxed. Whatever you do, do not cross your arms. You come across defensive. Don't tap your fingers as you'll seem bored, and yawning is the worst. You couldn't seem more disinterested at that point. Your legs, ankles, and feet can be a distraction too. Don't cross your feet or ankles, as this puts up a distractive barrier and signals that you'd rather be elsewhere. Keep your feet planted on the ground. Your posture is imperative here. As your mother always told you, sit up straight with your shoulders back. That'll help you project confidence and reduce your nervousness. You want to keep your fingers to yourself. You were always told it was rude to point, and it is. Keep your hands folded in your lap or on the table in front of you. Certain gestures can come across as aggressive. Now you need to sell yourself, so become a salesperson. What do you know about the most? You. So, sell yourself as you would any other product. You know what you have to offer. Tell them. You wear two hats during an interview, the professional that you are and the salesperson selling your product, you. The easy analogy I like to give everybody is to prepare like an actor or actress would. The salesperson is your character and the script is yours. You're going to be the part of the salesperson. Your script is your presentation of your qualifications, with employment being your motivation. You need to know what you're going to say and when you're going to say it, and have those lines rehearsed and polished. The more you rehearse it, the more natural it's going to feel to you. You want to keep a warm, confident, and positive attitude because remember, attitudes are contagious. Hold that smile an extra few seconds. Maintain eye contact and stay positive. Remember, practicing your presentation is the key to helping you provide the answer to any question. You can never practice enough. I'm sure you're wondering how you're going to prepare yourself to answer all the questions. Well, it's just like for any test or exam that you've ever taken. The more you put into your efforts now, the more it will pay off later. This is the nuts and bolts of your preparation, so take careful notes. Break down your resume. Take the job description and match your skills and experience to the duties and tasks that are outlined by the company. This will prepare you to answer all of the interviewer's questions by highlighting all your skills and achievements. We want you to have as many answers rehearsed and prepared as possible, so you're as comfortable with anything that comes up. This is going to help you focus the interviewer's attention on your understanding and ability to address the 4 major areas and aspects of the position that you're interviewing for: the problems, the processes, the prospects, and the people. When you break down your resume for the interviewer, always talk about what you do and how you do it. The details, such as the processes you used, the deadlines you encountered, and the results you achieved are going to be what distinguishes you as the technically superior candidate and the best cultural fit. Make sure your responses are concise. Get to the main points quickly. If the interviewer needs more detail, they will ask for it. The employer needs to be assured that you have the knowledge and capabilities necessary for the position. Make them understand that you understand. It's always wise to make a 90-day plan in writing to demonstrate insight on how you would approach the job. This is especially essential if you're applying for a leadership role. It shows you're proactive and have a lot of initiative, and you can be a mentor as you are willing to share information. Behavioral-based questions usually start with something like this. Tell me about a time when you overcame an objection of your superior. Or, tell me about a time when you overcame a big obstacle to get a task done. Or, tell me about your biggest challenge. This is an opportunity to tell your story, and you are the star. The employer will visualize you performing this function for them if we paint the picture properly. The technique we will use to construct your story is also a STAR. In this case, STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. That's how you want to approach any behavioral-based questions. You always want to stick to the facts and word your responses so that you can highlight your accomplishments but not come off as bragging or arrogant. This will be a great opportunity to wow the employer. Remember the wow factor we discussed earlier? This process will show that you are organized, thorough, detail-oriented, and a good communicator. And most trained interviewers expect to have the answers put on a silver platter for them just that way. Tell me about a time. This is most definitely going to be asked by the interviewer, and this is another moment to shine. Present a problem or an opportunity to your interviewer, why it was a problem or opportunity, and how long was that situation an issue. Also, talk about what would have happened had it not been addressed. Now, discuss how you fit into the picture, how you found yourself in the position to address the issue. Did you volunteer or were you elected or appointed? Who put you into the position and what was his or her title in relationship to you? The term action is simple, but it really explains your process and will give the interviewer insight into your work ethic. They'll be able to tell whether you cut corners, work with integrity, if you follow up, or leave loose ends. Make sure you consider your answers carefully and give them all the details. Don't be afraid that you're telling them too much because they need a detailed understanding. If they already know what you're talking about, they'll acknowledge that they're understanding and ask you to move forward into another topic. Results. To recap, you've already told them about the situation, the task, and the action, yet the results are where you shine. Consider these when talking about results. The money you saved or earned, which is important to any company, the amount of time you spent, the quality of your work, the compliance and safety for those of you going into manufacturing. Always know your numbers and how they are measured. The tough questions. This is where you need to think on your feet. You're most likely going to get a sampling of questions that you need to be prepared for. The first one is, tell me a little about yourself. Sidestep this question by narrowing the conversation to what's most important to the hiring manager. Keep it about the job and the duties involved, and more importantly, about how you fit in. Tell him or her how you are always professional, and cite with examples. Remember, do your homework and research everything. This will allow you to turn that question into one that will wow the interviewer. The interviewer may ask you what you are looking for in terms of salary. Again, do your research. Remember, you never want to sell yourself short, but you don't want to oversell your skills and personality. Use salary guides as a reference and be forthcoming and honest. Try to turn the conversation towards what you can do and where you can go within the organization. Getting the offer is your objective. Money should appear as though it's a secondary concern. If the interviewer continues to question you concerning your salary expectations, we recommend something like this. My last or current salary is X dollars. I've researched your organization and have heard you treat your employees fairly. I'm sure you will compensate me in line with those in your organization with similar skills. If the question concerns what you were looking for in your career, ask the interviewer about someone that was in a similar position and find out if there is a career path for an individual coming in at your level. Let them know that you would be interested in career opportunities with their company, and it is important for both you and the company to believe the position is a good fit for both of you long term and that you could be happy and contribute immediately in the short term. Aligning your goals with their career track can help demonstrate that fit. The interviewer will most likely ask you about your weaknesses. Answer honestly. Think back to a similar experience to the specific skill or task in question. You want to explain what you had to learn, how quickly you picked it up, and what success or failure you met in the end. Show a commitment to self-improvement. The key is to show improvement and overcoming that weakness and how you did it. Also be aware that what you think may be a weakness could be a strength in the eyes of an employer, but be sure it is true. Here's an example. I'm a workaholic and it frustrates my family, and I feel guilty at times missing things, but I love what I do, so it's hard to balance. If you do not have a certain skill that they're looking for, think back to a similar experience that is relevant to the task in question. An example would be, you may not have experience with AutoCAD version 1.5, but you now have experience with AutoCAD version 1.2. Tell them what you did to learn the program, how you went that extra mile, and how this ultimately saved your company money because you became the go-to guy with that technology and helped to train others, which ultimately improved productivity. If the interviewer asks you about your interest in another role within the organization, do not take his or her bait. Remember, you are there for a specific role and purpose. If you're easily tempted to take another position, it makes you seem disingenuous about the role at hand. In all probability, there is no other job. The question was only posed to expose your hand. If your passion is truly for the position that you're interviewing for, then let that be known. However, if the alternative position is also of interest to you, express that you're very interested in a position with the company and that you are a team player and you would use your skills in any way that would help the company. Other common questions the interviewer will likely ask is why you're looking for a change, where you want to be in 5 years, what are your strengths, and what motivates you. Remember, you have time to think. Never rush your answers, and always consider them carefully and concisely. Intelligent questions for the interviewer. Now, it's your turn. Remember the 4 Ps. As the interviewee, you only want to ask questions that will help yourself. Questions such as how you can add value to the company, how you fit their culture and style. Your goal is to demonstrate value and that you are looking for a long-term career and challenge. The best question I have everybody ask early in the interview is, what are the primary skills and challenges I must have to be a productive member of your team? This is most likely the strongest question you can ask. It's going to help you put up the targets and show you where you can add value. Plus, it's going to tell you what the company's problems are and what buttons you need to push to make sure you distinguish yourself as the best candidate for the job. Other questions you want to ask about are the duties and job responsibilities and short and long-term goals. You want to know what the future of the position is and where the problems lie within, whether they're financial, production, marketing, or operation. You need to know how production is now compared to at its peak. Ask about training, and if there is any, what new things you can learn, and what the company's management philosophy is. You want to make sure you create a level playing field and have common ground with that employer by asking him or her questions about what they like about the organization. Also, ask them to tell you a little bit about the company. You are going to get a positive response. Remember, success is your mantra. The goal is to create a scenario and/or a conversation that has 2 people talking about the good thing in the potential organization you're interviewing with, leaving the conventional interviewer and candidate scenario behind. Be prepared to talk about your successes and present them. Remember to use the terms we and team as much as possible, and not I all the time. Talk about things that you're proud of and good at. Mention how you are the go-to person in many situations, and anything and everything that positively distinguishes you from your peers. If you have any club or society involvement, we want to present that. You never know when you might run into a fellow member or alumni. If you held any leadership roles, talk about those too. Mention all of your credentials and volunteer experience. Always bring examples of your projects and reports because a picture is worth 1,000 words. Keep in mind, an interview is a 2-person conversation. Be prepared to demonstrate that you are the best person for the job, not just the person who can do that job. There are always issues to avoid. Wait until you're hired to negotiate anything. Avoid talking about money, benefits, perks, etc. until then. Talking money always puts you at a disadvantage. It sends the wrong message and goes against the nature of negotiating. Never, never speak negatively about current or past employers or employees that you are associated with. Remember, just stay positive. Before leaving the interview, you'll want to ask these types of questions. How soon do you want to fill the position? Who should I contact, or when will you get back to me? Will I need to return or meet with anybody else? Ask any and all questions you have about the position, the company, the duties, the job, and the needs, and have all of these questions answered before you walk out that door. We are now getting close to the end of the interview. This is where the interviewer will ask you if you have any questions for them, and know that you will always have something to say here. So this is the close that I like to use for everybody who has worked tremendously for me over the past 30 years. My recommendation is that when he or she asks, say, "Yes, sir, I have a comment and a question." The comment you provide is basically the summary of benefits that you will bring them as an employee and highlight the primary skills you need to demonstrate to be a productive member of their team, and explain that you're even more excited about the position now than at the start of the interview. Explain how you will be a great asset to them. Remember, we have turned you into a salesperson. Our 2 rules for sales. Number 1, if you don't ask for the sale, you won't get it. And number 2, if you can't close, you can't sell. Here's a closing technique that will work for you. Ask them how they feel about you, if they believe you would be a good member of their team. While you might think that you're putting them on the hot seat, you're not. You're going to get one of 4 answers to this question. The first 2 are pretty straightforward. You're either in or you're out. The other 2 are either they like you or they don't. The other 2 answers are more important because how you respond will either keep you in the game or eliminate you. The whole point here is to take advantage of the interviewer's concerns and leverage them for an opportunity to form a rebuttal. Here's an example. If the interviewer's response is, "We have some reservations about this particular skill you don't have," this gives you an opportunity to address those concerns so you don't leave the employer wondering if you have that ability. If you leave them in a gray area, you may not be the candidate that gets chosen. The second type of response attempts to put you off by not answering that question. As an example, "I want to discuss with my colleagues before I let you know." If this happens, an effective technique is to simply soften up the close a little bit by saying something like, "Do you have any concerns about my ability to do the job?" Or, "Do you have any additional questions I can clarify for you?" Earlier, we phrased the question to ask the interviewer if they wanted to hire you now. This follow-up approach softened the question and made it easier for the interviewer to respond. Hopefully, the interviewer will answer if there are any concerns, and you'll get a chance to rebut them. And if not, you'll know you put your best foot forward on the interview. This approach separates you from 99% of the people out there. It demonstrates good communication skills, that you know what you are looking for, that you're not afraid to ask hard questions, that you are detailed, that you are thorough, and more importantly, that you are a good communicator. Always leverage for a rebuttal. In closing, always remember your manners. Thank the interviewer for the opportunity. Follow up the next day with an email or letter thanking them again. Remember to include your key selling points, and this is just a 3-paragraph line where you're going to relate your expertise to the company's current challenges, highlight your accomplishments, address concerns, and mention any additional points not brought up during the interview. Our program is just about complete, but before we go, we'd like to pass on a few websites that could help you in your search for a position. www.linkedin.com, www.nothired.com, and www.visualcv.com. All are sites that can add to the information that we have provided, help you build a network to identify positions as they become available, and can help you develop strong, eye-opening resumes to land the interviews you really want. Before we end our program, here are 5 things to remember before you go into your next interview. First, know the company. Review their website to get information that may be relevant, such as recent news releases. Google the company to determine if there's additional information that may not be on their website. Second, know the requirements of the position and align the requirements with your capabilities, training, and experience. Next, know who will be interviewing you. Research Facebook or LinkedIn to learn about their interest and background. Google them to learn more about their involvement and news. Fourth, make sure you present a positive and confident persona. Try to light up the room with enthusiasm. Lastly, address the recruiter by name and tell them how you feel about the opportunity to learn more about the company and the position. Find a topic or an interesting fact that you uncovered about the company or the interviewer that not only demonstrates that you did your homework, but topics that may be common ground, interest, or experience shared, for example. Even after your interview is complete, you still have work to do. That brings us to the fifth P, persistence. Persistence keeps your name in front of the interviewer and others in the company until their decision is made. It's also an opportunity to demonstrate your professionalism. Immediately following the interview, it will be important to send an email or letter to those that interviewed you. Depending on the situation, it may also be appropriate to place a follow-up phone call. No matter which method you choose to follow up, make sure that you take time to carefully construct your follow-up comments based on the topics discussed during the interview. Underscoring each of the 5 Ps is an excellent way to keep you top of mind in the most positive way. Your comment should refresh their memory concerning how prepared you were and how you understood their business. Rephrasing a high point in your interview will help them remember how polished you were. Make sure they understand how enthusiastic you are about the position and demonstrate your professionalism by having a respectful tone to your communication. Well, this brings us to the end of our program, but before we go, here's Doug McKinney with a final word.
Well, there you have it. We've provided you with a complete roadmap that will not only help you get a position, but help you get the position that will set your career in motion. I guarantee you that if you use these proven techniques that we've developed over the last 25 years, you will be successful. I want you to go out and shoot for the stars and get hired.